and director. He is a graduate of the University of Bucharest and also the Bucharest Theatre and Film Academy. He's one of the first generation of post-revolutionary directors in Romania who is representing the face of Romanian cinema in the world. Now, if you've seen some Romanian films in recent years, you'll probably know that Romanian cinema is very varied, and The Phantom Father represents a quite different trend from some of the other directors who you're probably familiar with, compared with, for instance, Morgan that we showed earlier in the festival. Mr. Georgescu is also a film critic who has been published in Romania, France, and the United Kingdom. He's the author of the book On the Road with Jim, which is an analysis of independent American director Jim Jarmusch's road movies. He currently teaches screenwriting at the Bucharest Film Academy, and The Phantom Father is his first film as director. It's loosely based on the short story or the novella Almost Oriental by Barry Gifford. And we are privileged to have Barry Gifford here in person tonight also. Many of you in the audience are probably already familiar with the work of this prolific American writer. He is an author, poet, screenwriter, whose early years in Chicago have been a great influence on his work. My personal favorite is The Sad Story of the Death of Kings, which has a great many Chicago references, including references to the State Lake building right next door, the Chicago Theater across the street, Graceland Cemetery, and Chicago Streets galore. It's also a book typical of his work, full of characters, unique characters. I think you're going to see some evidence of those unique characters in tonight's film also, as well as the Chicago roots of this story. Gifford's work includes novels, collections of poetry, essays and short stories, and nonfiction works including The Neighborhood of Baseball, a personal history of the Chicago Cubs. He's particularly renowned for his Sailor and Lula novels, and American director David Lynch adapted his novel Wild at Heart, the story of Sailor and Lula, into the film Wild at Heart, which went on to win the Palme d'Or at the Cannes Film Festival. Gifford also collaborated again with David Lynch to co-write the screenplay for Lost Highway. So, we have an artist here whose career has spanned both literature and film and continues to go back and forth between literature and film. So I'd like to introduce both Barry Gifford and Lucian Georgescu to make a few remarks about the film before we see it, and then they will be on stage here afterwards to talk about the film. So welcome, Barry Gifford and Lucian Georgescu.
Do you want to say a few words in Romanian?
Just
to prove to the audience that you really are Romanian.
Yeah,
I'm happy to be in your town.
I'm Romanian as Barry Gifford is Romanian, so I'm using my Romanian language to tell you that I'm very grateful to you that you spent 2 hours of your life coming here. There's not too much for me to say before you see this movie. It's my first time ever in the United States. There's just one day I've arrived here, so I'm very emotional, and I'm very happy that such a big adventure, which ended up with a small movie called The Phantom Father, made me coming here in the natal city of Barry Gifford. I thank you, Barbara, Gene Siskel Center, and I came here not just for visiting the big country, but to meet you and to be able to talk to you after the screening if you'll be willing to. Thank you very much for coming.
I think that's enough. And just to say, I'm glad to be back here with this film. I want to say that really working with Lucian on this film, which is a very different kind of movie than anything I've been identified with before, is the most fun that I've ever had. So I hope you enjoy the film, and then we'll answer your questions afterwards. Enjoy it.
one more thing I want to add, because probably here there are film connoisseur and cinephile, and Barbara was right. The Phantom Father is a very different movie than what you would be calling the new Romanian cinema. So I hope it's not going to disappoint you if you're generous enough to accept various, versions of what we would call the new Romanian cinema. And of course, even I'm a great fan of, for instance, of Morgan. Morgan is one of my favorite movies. I don't know if you had the time to see that movie those days. There's a huge difference in between Morgan and the Phantom Father, even though I hope you will find some common references to it. Thank you.